In the quiet industrial town of Millbrook, nestled in the northern hills of England, Emma Williams stood by the frost-covered window, her reflection a mirror of determination mixed with worry. At 28, she carried the weight of her family's survival on her shoulders. The small cottage they called home was more than just a building. It was a testament to her resilience. The factory where Emma had worked for the past 6 years had closed suddenly, leaving her and dozens of other workers without a job. Winter was cruel, and bills didn't care about unemployment. Her younger brother Jack, a bright-eyed 15-year-old, tried his best to keep their spirits high, but Emma could see the anxiety hidden behind his forced smiles. Their parents had died 3 years ago in a tragic car accident, leaving Emma as Jack's sole guardian. She remembered her mother's last words, "Take care of each other." Those words echoed in her mind every single day as she fought to keep their small world together. Mornings were the hardest. Emma would wake up before dawn, carefully rationing their food, making sure Jack had enough to eat before school. She would mend his clothes, patch up his worn-out shoes, and pack him a modest lunch. Her own meals were often just bread and weak tea, sacrificing her own comfort to ensure Jack could continue his education. The job market was brutal. Emma spent hours at the local library, searching through job listings, filling out applications, and sending countless emails. Her phone remained silent, rejection letters piling up like a cruel reminder of her struggles. Each unopened envelope was a punch to her hope, but she refused to give up. Jack would come home from school and find Emma surrounded by papers, her face etched with concentration. He would quietly make tea, placing a warm cup beside her, a small gesture of support that spoke volumes. "We'll be okay, sis," he would say, his hand gently touching her shoulder. Their neighbors watched Emma's struggle with a mixture of sympathy and admiration. Mrs. Roberts, an elderly woman who lived next door, would sometimes leave home-cooked meals at their doorstep. These small acts of kindness were like rays of hope in their challenging world. Emma's savings were dwindling quickly. She had sold most of their non-essential belongings, an old television, some furniture, her mother's jewelry that she had kept, as a precious memory. Each item sold was a piece of their past, traded for the hope of survival. The local job center became her second home. Emma would spend hours there, talking to counselors, attending workshops, learning new skills. Her computer skills were limited, but she was determined to improve. She took free online courses during late nights, her eyes straining in the dim light of their small living room. Winter was unforgiving. Heating was a luxury they could barely afford. Emma would wrap Jack in multiple layers, ensuring he stayed warm during the cold mornings. She learned to seal windows with plastic, block drafts, and make their home as efficient as possible. Despite everything, Emma maintained her dignity. She never complained, never asked for handouts. Her pride was her strength. She believed that hard work and determination would eventually break through the wall of challenges they faced. Jack was her motivation. He was an excellent student, understanding the sacrifices Emma made. His school reports were always impressive, bringing a smile to Emma's tired face. She knew that his education was their ticket to a better future. As the days grew shorter and the financial pressure mounted, Emma's resolve remained unbroken. She would sit by the window, watching the industrial town's landscape, planning, dreaming, hoping. Her reflection showed a woman who was tired but not defeated. In the quiet moments before dawn, when the world was still and silent, Emma would write in her small notebook. Dreams of a better job, hopes for Jack's future, plans to turn their life around. Each word was a prayer, each sentence a promise to herself and her brother. The struggle was real, but so was her spirit. Emma Williams was not just surviving. She was preparing to fight back, to create a life of opportunity and hope for herself and Jack. The end. The local bakery on Millbrook's Main Street was more than just a place that sold bread. It was a community heart, run by Robert Thompson, a weathered man in his late 50s with kind eyes and hands that told stories of decades of hard work. Every morning, the bakery filled with the warm, comforting smell of fresh bread and hope. Emma had passed this bakery countless times during her job searches. She would pause briefly, inhaling the sweet aroma, sometimes too proud to enter, knowing she couldn't afford more than a glance. Robert had noticed her, not just as another face in the town, but as someone carrying a heavy burden. One particularly cold morning, as Emma walked past with her stack of job applications, Robert stepped outside. "Miss," he called, his voice gentle but firm. Emma turned, surprised. She had never spoken to him before, always feeling out of place among the bakery's regular customers. "Would you like some tea?" he asked, holding out a warm cup. Emma hesitated. Her pride wanted to refuse, but her cold hands and empty stomach betrayed her. She accepted the cup, her fingers trembling slightly as she held it. Robert saw more than just a struggling woman. He saw determination, resilience, and a spirit that reminded him of his own younger days. They talked briefly, Emma sharing just enough about her job search and her responsibility for her brother Jack. Days passed, and Robert made a decision. He needed help in the bakery, someone reliable, someone who understood the value of hard work. Emma was perfect. He offered her a part-time job, watching her eyes light up with a mixture of hope and relief. The job wasn't glamorous. Emma would arrive early, cleaning surfaces, organizing shelves, and learning to prepare simple bakery items. Jack would sometimes visit after school, helping her clean or arranging displays. Robert watched their dynamic, a sister and brother united against life's challenges. Emma learned quickly. Her hands, once soft and unused to manual work, became strong and capable. She discovered a rhythm in baking, a poetry in preparing dough, and a satisfaction in creating something beautiful and nourishing. Robert became more than an employer. He became a mentor. The bakery became a sanctuary for Emma. Each morning, she would arrive before dawn, the warm kitchen a contrast to the cold world outside. Robert shared stories of his own struggles, how he had built the bakery from nothing, how he had faced countless challenges. "Success isn't about never falling," he would tell her. "It's about rising every time you fall." These words became Emma's mantra. Jack would hear these stories and look at his sister with growing admiration. The town began to notice the change in Emma. Her confidence grew, her shoulders straightened, her smile became more genuine. The bakery staff welcomed her, sharing small jokes, teaching her secrets of bread making passed down through generations. Robert saw potential in Emma that went beyond bakery work. He noticed her quick learning, her organizational skills, her ability to connect with people. He started teaching her basic business management, showing her how to manage inventory, understand pricing, and interact with suppliers. Jack's school performance improved. The steady income, though modest, brought stability to their lives. Emma could now afford better food, could repair their cottage's broken windows, could buy Jack new textbooks. The bakery became more than a workplace for Emma. It became a classroom of life lessons, a place of unexpected kindness, a bridge between her struggles and her dreams. Robert Thompson wasn't just giving her a job, he was offering her hope. As weeks turned into months, Emma transformed. The desperate woman who had walked past the bakery months ago was now a confident, skilled worker with dreams taking shape. Her relationship with Robert was unique, part employer, part mentor, part family. Every loaf of bread they baked together was more than just food. It was a symbol of resilience, of human connection, of the unexpected kindness that could change a life. Emma had found more than a job. She had found a path forward. The end. The community center bulletin board was a lifeline for many in Millbrook. Small notices, job opportunities, and local events filled its weathered surface. Emma had become a regular visitor, her eyes scanning each piece of paper with hope and determination. One rainy Tuesday morning, a bright yellow poster caught her attention. A local business development workshop was being organized, promising free training for aspiring entrepreneurs. The cost was minimal, but for Emma, even that seemed like a challenge. She looked at the poster, her fingers tracing the details. Robert noticed her hesitation at the bakery. "You should go," he said, sliding a fresh, warm scone towards her. "Investment in yourself is the best investment." His words carried the weight of experience. Emma knew he had never had such opportunities when he was younger. After long discussions, with Jack and careful calculations of their tight budget, Emma decided to take the risk. She scraped together the workshop fee, cutting back on non-essential expenses. Jack helped her prepare, ironing her only good shirt and helping her practice her introduction. The workshop was held in a small meeting room above the local library. Emma felt out of place among the other participants, some younger, some older, all seeming more confident. But Robert's words echoed in her mind. "Your potential is not defined by your current circumstances." The instructors were practical, breaking down complex business concepts into simple, understandable language. Emma took meticulous notes. She learned about market research, pricing strategies, and basic accounting. Her notebook became filled with dreams and possibilities. One particular session focused on local catering opportunities. The instructor discussed how small businesses could start by targeting local institutions, schools, community centers, small offices. Emma's mind began to race. She remembered the delicious recipes she had learned from Robert, the baking skills she had developed. During a group exercise, Emma shared her idea of a small catering service. Her passion was evident. Her fellow workshop participants listened intently. For the first time, she saw her struggle not as a limitation, but as a unique perspective that could become a strength. Jack became her biggest supporter. He helped her design simple flyers using the library's computer. They worked late into the night, discussing potential menu items, calculating costs, dreaming of possibilities. Their cottage transformed into a makeshift business planning center. Robert offered more than encouragement. He provided practical support. He allowed Emma to practice new recipes in the bakery's kitchen during off hours. He introduced her to local suppliers, shared contacts, and gave her honest, sometimes brutal feedback. The first potential client came through an unexpected connection. The local community center needed catering for a small event. Emma's heart raced as she prepared her proposal. Her homemade pies, learned from Robert's recipes, became her signature offering. The day of the first catering event was nerve-wracking. Emma and Jack prepared everything meticulously. They arrived early, set up carefully, and presented their food with pride. The community center staff were impressed not just by the food, but by Emma's professionalism. Word spread quickly in the eye. Small town. More inquiries came. Emma's catering business was no longer just a dream. It was becoming a reality. She hired 2 local women who were also struggling to find work, creating a small but meaningful enterprise. Robert watched with pride. He saw more than just a successful business venture. He saw a young woman transforming her life, creating opportunities, not just for herself, but for others in the community. Jack's eyes shone with admiration. His sister, who had once seemed defeated by circumstances, was now creating her own path. He understood that success wasn't about grand gestures, but about consistent hard work and belief in oneself. The bakery became more than just Robert's business. It became the unofficial headquarters of Emma's emerging catering enterprise. Recipes were discussed, plans were made, dreams were shared over cups of strong tea and fresh bread. Emma had found her turning point. What once seemed like an impossible dream was now taking shape. one pie, one event, one opportunity at a time. The end. The old shed behind Emma's cottage had always been a forgotten space, filled with broken tools and forgotten memories. But now, it was transforming into something extraordinary. With Robert's guidance and Jack's enthusiastic help, the shed became a small commercial kitchen, the heart of Emma's growing catering business. Local craftsmen who knew their family's story offered discounted labor. They installed proper cooking equipment, added clean white tiles, and ensured the space met health and safety regulations. Each nail hammered, each tile placed was more than just construction. It was hope taking physical shape. Emma hired two local women, Margaret and Sarah, who had been struggling with unemployment. Both were in their 40s, with years of cooking experience but limited opportunities. They became more than employees. They became partners in this small but growing enterprise. The first month was challenging. Orders were small, a community event here, a small office gathering there. But Emma's determination never wavered. She learned accounting from Robert, marketing from free online courses, and management skills from her own daily challenges. Jack became the unofficial marketing manager. He created social media posts, designed simple flyers, and helped manage their basic accounts. His computer skills, learned through school and library resources, became a crucial asset to their small business. Word spread quickly in Millbrook. People weren't just buying food, they were supporting a local story of resilience. Emma's pies became famous, each one telling a story of hope, each recipe a testament to her journey. Local businesses began recommending her catering service. The community center that gave her first chance became a regular client. School events, local meetings, small corporate gatherings. Emma's catering began to fill these spaces. Her menu was simple but delicious. Traditional English pies, fresh sandwiches, homemade cakes that reminded people of their grandmother's cooking. Margaret and Sarah brought their own magic to the kitchen. They shared family recipes, cooking techniques passed through generations. The kitchen became more than a workplace. It was a place of storytelling, of shared experiences, of building something together. Robert continued to mentor Emma. He would visit the kitchen, taste new recipes, offer advice. A successful business is about more than just food, he would say. It's about connection, about understanding what people need. Financial stability began to replace constant worry. Jack could now have better school supplies. Their cottage received necessary repairs. Emma could afford proper winter clothing, could buy better ingredients, could dream about future expansion. The local bank, impressed by Emma's consistent growth and community support, offered a small business development loan. It was a turning point, official recognition of her hard work and potential. Emma approached the loan with careful planning, discussing every detail with Robert and her team. Community support became their greatest asset. Local farmers offered better rates for produce. Nearby bakeries shared tips and occasionally referred overflow catering requests. The business was becoming more than just Emma's dream. It was becoming a community project. Jack's school became proud of his family's journey. Teachers would mention Emma's story as an example of local entrepreneurship. The shy boy who once worried about family survival was now confident, seeing his sister's transformation. The kitchen began to expand. They added storage space, upgraded equipment piece by piece. Margaret and Sarah received proper training, with Emma investing in their professional development. What started as a survival strategy was becoming a proper business. Emma never forgot the struggles that brought her here. She began mentoring other young entrepreneurs, sharing her story at local workshops. Her journey became an inspiration, proving that with determination, support, and hard work, dreams could become reality. As the year ended, Emma looked at the transformed shed, at her small team, at the growing business. The scared, struggling woman from a year ago seemed like a distant memory. She had built more than a catering business. She had built hope. Robert would often say, watching her work, "Some dreams are built slice by slice, pie by pie." And Emma would smile, knowing exactly what he meant. The endone year after starting her catering business, Emma stood in her now professional kitchen, surrounded by Margaret and Sarah. The small space that once seemed like an impossible dream was now a thriving enterprise. Their first anniversary was more than just a business milestone. It was a celebration of resilience. Robert Thompson arrived early that morning, carrying a special cake he had baked himself. His eyes sparkled with pride as he looked around the kitchen. The transformation was remarkable. What had started as a desperate attempt to survive had become a symbol of hope for Millbrook. Jack, now 16, had become an integral part of the business. His computer skills had helped them create a simple but effective online presence. Local schools and community centers were now regular clients. The business was no longer just about survival. It was about creating opportunities. The local newspaper wanted to do a story about Emma's journey. A photographer captured images of the team. Emma in her crisp white chef's coat, Margaret and Sarah preparing delicious pies, Jack managing the accounts. Their story was becoming a local legend of perseverance. Financial stability brought more than just comfort. Emma could now plan for the future. Jack's education was secure, their cottage was fully repaired, and they could afford small luxuries they had once only dreamed about. But more importantly, they had hope. Margaret and Sarah had transformed too. No longer just employees, they were partners. Emma had ensured they received fair wages, professional training, and a stake in the business. Their families looked at them with newfound respect, survivors who had created their own path. The business expanded slowly but steadily. They added more diverse menu options, catering to different dietary needs. Local businesses began recommending them. What started with simple pies now included a range of dishes that celebrated local ingredients and traditional cooking. Robert continued to be their mentor and supporter. He would visit the kitchen, taste new recipes, offer advice. "You're not just selling food," he would tell them. "You're selling hope." His wisdom had been the cornerstone of their success. Jack's school performance continued to excel. The confidence he gained from being part of the family business was evident. He began helping other students understand entrepreneurship, sharing his family's story of transformation. The local business development center recognized Emma's achievement. They invited her to speak at workshops, sharing her journey from unemployment to successful entrepreneur. Her story became an inspiration for others facing similar challenges. Financial planning became a priority. Emma took additional courses in business management. She opened a savings account for Jack's future education, something she could never have imagined a year ago. Each small achievement was a victory against past struggles. Community support continued to grow. Local farmers began supplying them with fresh ingredients. Other small businesses started referring clients. The catering service was no longer just a business. It was a valued part of Millbrook's community. As the anniversary celebration continued, Emma looked around the kitchen. Margaret was preparing a special pie, Sarah was organizing orders, Jack was managing the computer system. The team worked together like a well-oiled machine, each person playing a crucial role. Robert raised a toast. "To dreams," he said, looking at Emma. "To the dreams we build, slice by slice, day by day." Tears welled in Emma's eyes. The journey had been challenging, but every struggle had been worth it. The business was more than just a means of survival now. It was a beacon of hope. Emma had not just created a catering service, she had created opportunities. For herself, for Jack, for Margaret and Sarah, for the entire community. As the day ended, Emma stood by the window of their cottage. The transformed shed behind the house was more than just a kitchen. It was a testament to human resilience, to the power of hope, to the magic that happens when determination meets opportunity. Jack joined her, putting his arm around her shoulder. "We did it, sis," he said softly. Emma smiled, knowing that this was not an end, but a beautiful new beginning. The end.